The other thing I would add to that is seasonings. Now, I love a good seasoning. A good start would be to bone up on what you have at your home if you don't have a stock yet. So onions are seasoning, peppers are seasoning, garlic is seasoning, but you can also get onion powder and garlic powder. I like turmeric. You can do black pepper. I prefer to use cayenne for myself as opposed to black pepper, but cayenne does pack a bit more heat than black pepper. And also understand, as you begin to taste and experiment, how sometimes things can heighten things. If you put ginger and cayenne, this is from personal experience, in a dish, and you put a bit more, it will add some spice and heat to it. You will feel it. Just know. So play with your seasonings, and then you can sometimes put savory stuff in. Like, I learned this many years ago that, when you're making a chili, especially it being tomato based, that sometimes chocolate or cinnamon is put in there to kind of balance out the tartness of the tomato, and to round out the taste and give it a different level. So just some things to experiment with. But seasonings, yes. Get your onion powder, get your garlic powder, get some fresh onion and fresh garlic, and also put in some herbs in there. I would do that. Now, the other thing that I personally did, and I still do a lot of, and I did this even when before I went dairy-free and plant-based. One of the things that I like to do was veganize baked goods. Honestly, that's something that even if I wasn't on this journey, I would still do, and I've been doing for a while. Sometimes I do it just for the heck of it, just to see if my family's going to tell a difference, or because my family likes it. And honestly, I prefer my baked goods without any dairy or egg. So veganized baked goods. Look at what's in it. Play around and Googling around some recipes of some of your favorite cookies, cakes, and pies, and see if you can veganize that. Maybe even just try a simple, vegan ice cream, which usually has a banana base and some kind of fruit and sweetener. Or play around with something else, like, maybe making a vegan ice cream. Get yourself like you can actually it's an old-fashioned way of doing it. Regular ice cream can be made by just taking some cream and putting it in a machine or putting it on between ice. I've seen that hack online someplace. Play around with that with some coconut cream maybe, And there are vegan heavy creams on the market. So maybe you can play with that first and add some strawberries or add some fruit and find yourself a recipe online and see if you can come up with, a flavor that you like. Maybe you want a spicy pumpkin something for the holiday season or when it's fall. Maybe you want pistachio, vegan ice cream because that's what you love. I grew up on pistachio ice cream, so I veganized that already as well. But just some ways to do that, and do it with a donut, do it with a pie. Do it with a muffin. That's how I kind of started myself, with muffins and cakes and pies. And then you're able to create, your own sweets, knowing what's in it and being able to have fun and knowing that it's dairy-free or vegan, if that's what you like. The other thing I would give you as a tip is to read labels. Yes, I mentioned it before, but I'm going to say this again. Read the labels. Read your labels. And here's why. You want to read your labels because, for one, you want to not assume that something is vegan just because it's in a health food store. Yes, just because it's in a healthier store or a market or grocery store that's higher end, where you're going to spend $12 for a bag of rice, it does not necessarily mean that it is vegan. And the other thing that I said in my previous video, I'm going to say this again, is it does not mean that it's healthy. Now, my definition of healthy and what your definition of healthy can be is two different things. I'm not here to tell you what's healthy for you. But if, say, for example, you have some issues with salt, or you have a health condition where you can't eat a lot of salt, I would look at a label, because sometimes something, looks healthy, but it has 100 milligrams of sodium per serving. Now, I'm really kind of exaggerating that, but that happens. And that may not be for you. That package item may not be for you. And sometimes it's in whole meal, and I get it. Sometimes you're in a rush, you don't have time, whatever, and you want to get something on the go. I've been to Trader Joe's and done that, where I've gotten something on the go that was vegan, and I was fine with it. But sometimes it may not be for you, because it could be that meal, or sometimes it's just the one ingredient. And if that one ingredient has so much sodium or so much sugar or so much whatever, and you're pairing with other things, you've probably already, done yourself a disservice, because you know what, you're already starting out with something that may be too much for your system, or something that your system doesn't agree with, or is not healthy for you in particular. So read labels, and if you don't understand what's in it, that may not be for you either. But you know what? Get understanding. If you don't understand what's on the ingredient list, I say use the internet and do some research and see what's really in foods. And then make a decision from then. Then you're more informed, and you can make a decision on if that's healthy for you or not, or if it's for you. Finally, I would say learn alternatives. So when I say learn alternatives, I mean, you love a good steak. I used to like a good steak, and then I went through a phase where even when I still wasn't on a fully plant-based lifestyle, or wasn't where I'm at now in my journey, I wasn't a big fan of steak. I really wasn't. I was honestly more the turkey fish girl. That's what I loved. I wasn't really a big fan of red meat. But when I decided to go further in this journey, I began to look at different ways to make things alternatively. So if it was something barbecue, I learned to barbecue some tofu in a way that I loved. This may not be the same exact thing, but I'm gonna say this. I was not a fan of chickpeas. Now, no, that's not me. You're like, well, that's just a chickpea. I wasn't a fan of chickpeas. So I wasn't a fan of falafel. And believe it or not, growing up in New York, you would think I would love falafel. No, I couldn't stand it. I was like, ooh, it's disgusting. But you know what? When I began to take that one ingredient and prepare it in a way that I loved, I began to curry it actually. Yes, I'm from the island, so I curried it. Guess what? Now I love chickpeas. And I make them in ways that to me are tasty, and now I can eat them. And then I turned around years later, and guess what? I made a falafel from scratch with chickpeas that weren't in a can, and it was phenomenal. It went over so well. Everybody in my house loved it, and I actually loved it too. So I'm saying that to learn alternatives, because sometimes it's alternative ways of making things that you're not sure about, or you don't like for whatever reason. And sometimes it's also alternatives. For example, when it comes back to the steak, you want to do something, or you may want to do something like mushrooms. Mushrooms are become a big hit, I'm noticing now. And sometimes people say, oh, I don't like mushrooms, they're slimy. Well, mushrooms aren't necessarily slimy depending on how you make them. And there's so many varieties of mushrooms. I make, and I'll link all this below, but I make a, chicken fried mushroom that I just take some of the seasonings I would make on a fried chicken or a fried dish, and I coat the mushroom, and it's phenomenal. It's there. I've done it, like I said, with tofu, and then a barbecue tofu, and it's been excellent, and then, same thing with mushroom. I've taken a lion's mane mushroom and made it into what looked like an actual steak, and so I say lean into alternatives, learn alternatives. That way you know better as to what you can incorporate into your way of eating in your life, your lifestyle, that would satiate those cravings, and also help you to include newer things into your diet in ways that will be helpful and healthy to you. And then use the same things going out. If maybe going out, see what they have on the menu and ask for alternatives. Ask them if there's ways that they can make, maybe the chef can make a certain dish for you that's more vegan or plant-based. If you know what alternatives that maybe you can ask for. So I hope this video has helped you. If it's helped you, please give me a thumbs up and like the video. If you have any tips that you want to share with me, or things that maybe you've learned, just starting out, or things you want to ask, feel free to leave a comment. And also, I want you to subscribe to the channel for more content like this and more recipes, which I'll link below. And also join my free VIP group as well. So thank you so much for joining me, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.